So now that we know how to scale a digital input, in this video we're going to scale an analog input. So we could go back to our configuration again, go under physical I/O local, and then instead of going the DI, we're going to use the AI this time. So we're going to use AI1 here. So I'll just double click on that. You can change the name if you like, move it to a group just like you did for the analogs. We're going to leave everything else as is. You can use, like I said before, these advanced analog or digital variable types, but for this, just to keep this one simple, we're just going to use a dint. So go ahead and click on the basic tab. In the basic tab, you have all this other great stuff that you can use, like value deviation, periodic event generation, out of range limits. We'll go through that in a later video, but for now we're just worried about the scaling here. If you go into the help manual, there's this scaling parameters. So this explains how the scaling actually works. So essentially you have your raw minimum. We're going to keep it at 0 to 10,000. So essentially we have this set to 4 to 20. So when you get 4 milliamps coming in, it'll be 0. And if you get 20, it'll be 10,000 raw. And then it'll scale that to 0 to 100%. So I actually don't need to change anything here. So we can just go online with this. Go into our objects. Go into our analog input 1 here. We could do the auto refresh every 5 seconds. It's set to a dint, so right now it's 3041, so if we crank that one all the way up. You get your full 10,000, and then if you crank it all the way down, this potentiometer will go from 20 milliamps to 0, so we'll get this all the way down to a negative value, so it'll be negative 2500. And then you could try to get this right on 4 milliamps, but it'd be pretty tricky. So once you've done that, we could stop auto refreshing this, and we could also try changing this. You could get a real number of the actual engineered scaled value. Remember, we set this to 0 to 100%, so if we go and auto refresh it every 5 seconds again and crank it all the way up, you should get 100. Got 100. Then we crank it all the way down, we should get negative 25. There you go. So you know how to set up the scaling for this. So we're going to go and maybe change the scaling a little bit. So let's go into our configuration, double click on our AI1 basic. Maybe we want to change this to 0 to, maybe it's a pressure transmitter, a 6,000 pound pressure transmitter. So our 4 to 20 will come in, it'll get scaled to 0 to 10,000, and then our engineering scaling will scale to 0 to 6,000. So we hit OK. You'll see that we've made a change here because there's a little pencil here. Hit OK, hit apply, and then write those changes to the SCADAPack. Go into our auto refresh every 5 seconds again. Go and find analog input 1, which is up here, right here. So we'll change this to the dint won't change at all, but the real will. So we'll go and crank that all the way up to our 6,000 pounds. And there you go. So that's how you could go and just take an analog input and just scale it without actually writing any code to do that. So now that we have that scaled, in a later video we're going to use that value in the programming environment and do some logic with it. Thanks for watching this video.